episode 2 of One Gig at a Time with me, Kevin Daniel. It's been quite a quiet week this week in comedy perspectives, but January is always a bit like that. Well, it is for me anyway. It's always a bit quieter. I try to do kind of at least 12 gigs a month if I can, sort of 3 a week. And this week I only had 1 gig booked in, which was for Friday. Which was in Buxton for Buzz Comedy, and the legend that is Agraman. If you don't know who Agraman is, Mr. John Marshall, he's been around for years and years and years, and just has been fundamental in launching the careers of lots and lots of comedians that are now massive household names. So yeah, John's cracking, he's in his mid-70s now, still going, brilliant guy. But yeah, that gig was for the Buxton Opera House, and it got cancelled, unfortunately, due to Storm Garetti. It got cancelled, but it was the right thing to do. John made the right call, because, you know, it was a bit treacherous, wasn't it, on Friday with the storm. So no gigs this week, didn't do any gigs this week. Storm Garetti put paid to that. It's a fucking rubbish name for a storm, isn't it? Garetti. Storm Garetti. I mean, who makes up these names we have for storms anyway? And previously we've had Storm Ashley. That's no scary, is it? Storm Ashley. That's no. You want a name that's going to terrify you. Storm Bert was another one. Again, you know, that's not the name of a storm, is it? That's the name of the old guy that works in B&Q. They're all called Bert and Stanley and all that sort of stuff. I want scary names if you're going to, you know, name a storm. I want Storm Psycho, or Storm Assassin, or Storm Taxman. That would have me running for cover. By the way, any taxman watching, I am fully paid up with all my tax and everything. Please don't come looking for me, because I'm all good. So this week's really just been applying for gigs. I think I had a wee look back through my emails and stuff. Most gigs get advertised on Facebook and social media and different forums and stuff. At least that's how I apply for most gigs. And you're basically just throwing your hat in the ring with likely to be, you know, hundreds of other, you know, maybe up to hundreds of other comedians that see the same advertisement, and, you know, you've just got to, you know, the promoter will book the best lineup that he can, or that she can, for the room, based on the demographic and all that sort of stuff they take into consideration. So I think I applied for 19 gigs this week, and I got booked for 11 new gigs in my diary this week. Now, just to be clear, that's no 11 out of those 19 I get booked for. That's not what I'm saying. It's a kind of cyclical thing. So the gigs that I get booked for this week, almost all of them were not gigs that I applied for this week. They were gigs that I've applied for weeks in the past, and the promoter just takes the time to get through them. So I think the gigs I get booked for, I think there's one in January, towards the end of January, and then there's some in September, some in May, some as far away as November. So pleased to get 11 new gigs booked in the diary. As I say, promoters fill gigs months in advance, so you just, you know, they advertise, you send them your CV and some clips, and throw your hat in the ring basically. And but there's so many brilliant acts out there, so many amazing comedians out there that have been going much longer than me and much more experienced than me, and, but, you know, professional comedians, you know, guys and girls that are like proper circuit comedians that do this for a living. So you're kind of up against it. So, but look, that's the way it is. You've got to work your way through the levels and work your way through the ranks to keep going. So yeah, what I'm really pleased about is 5 of those 11 gigs that I booked for are part of a huge comedy festival that's taking place in May. I'm not quite sure if I can say anything about it yet, but I'm really pleased. It's one of the things that, you know, you look at it from the outside and you think, God, it'd be amazing to play that one day. And one of the bookers for that contacted me this week and offered me 5 gigs over the course of the festival, over the course of the weekend, and so that's quite a big deal. So hopefully more news I can share with you about that later, and I also get booked for 2 different full weekends. So that's like a Friday and a Saturday night at the same club, over 2 different weekends. One in I think one in September and one in November, at the Last Laugh Comedy Club in Sheffield, which is run by Toby Foster. And again, Toby Foster's like a legend of the sort of comedy circuit. You know, he's I think he's got a daily show on BBC Sheffield Radio as well, and he was in Phoenix Nights, and he's done loads of stuff. He's brilliant. I mean, a proper. So to get that opportunity for Toby is really good. I've done one gig for him before, at a place called the Denby Pie Hall. So yeah, it was really good that Toby's gave me that opportunity to come and do a Friday and a Saturday night at his Last Laugh Comedy Club in Sheffield, and that's on September and November. So yeah, that's been my week really. No much in terms of performance, nothing happening. Done a little bit of writing about some different ideas and stuff. But yeah, it's been a productive week, I think. So we'll see what next week brings us. But look, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening to me prattle on about it. And again, if you've got any questions or anything, then, you know, by all means ask. I'll do my best to answer them. But as I say, I can only answer them from my limited knowledge and my limited experience of the comedy circuit at the minute. But thank you very much. I hope you have a brilliant week. And with all the madness that's going on in the world, let's try and be kind to one another. I think that's a good idea. Mary Doll always says to me, just be kind. So I will try and do that next week. All right, have a good week. Thanks again. Cheers.